You're listening to Your Rivers Are Wrong, the podcast.
Good morning, or evening, or afternoon, whenever you may be. Welcome back to the Your Rivers Are Wrong podcast. My name is Dante, one of your co-hosts for today.
And I'm the other co-host, and my name is Merle.
And we're here to talk about the wonderful whimsies of world building, the arts and aesthetics of setting up a setting and telling stories born from it.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
We're here on the wake of episode 46, stepping into episode 47. And I got to say, we've had a lot of really exciting episodes.
Yeah.
I've been editing together the last episodes, and 44 to 46 are just my favorite string of episodes. As in, we just really get into both of them, all of them.
It's actually true. Yeah.
It's so exciting. 44, when I just recently edited that one, and that is hilarious as we devolve into flying animals and such. I don't want to spoil it, but that's definitely
it's in the past by now, right? By the time you're listening this.
I don't know if people have heard it yet.
Who knows? You don't need chronological order to listen to our podcast.
Yeah, one of the appeals of our podcast is that you can listen to them in any order you want.
We're so flexible.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Any
amazing.
topic that you're interested in, you could just click it and have zero context going into it.
Which is great. But okay, I get what you're saying here. This is like a high bar now. So we're upping the level. Every episode that we do kind of is now like more than usual. Because the last ones have been so great.
Let's not put that pressure on ourselves. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with the audience here. Everyone listening at home, we will have some dud episodes. We will have
we've
some...
had them. It's happened before. We've done a lot of episodes by now.
I think in this season, we had an episode where we both woke up like 5 minutes before recording.
Oh, yeah.
And had to scramble to put ourselves together.
As you do.
Anyway, if you haven't listened to this podcast, again, we are recording this from opposite sides of the Atlantic Ocean. We're currently in a video call, sorting ourselves out and discussing our favorite topic, which is world building / storytelling, putting together the pieces that make a wonderful story and all the little nuances that nobody really talks about. But before we get into this, let's do a little quick update. Any life updates with you? Anything exciting happening in your neck of the woods?
Ooh, nothing crazy, which is good because it's been pretty crazy and chaotic previously.
Right.
The fact that I'm back in like kind of average rhythm is a very good thing because I'm not usually good at that, that part of adulting. So that's great. I just said before we started recording, I started yoga again. I'm going to say it for the world so that I feel pressure to keep doing it. So you can ask me next week, and I hope that I've done more of it by then.
Everyone.
Pressure. I'm welcoming
email.
Yes.
yourriversarewrong@gmail.com. That's our email.
Yes.
And ask us, hey, is Marla doing her yoga? Just keep her accountable.
Yeah. That's the only way I do it. So, I'm spreading it out. I'm spreading the knowledge so that people can blame me if I didn't do it. But I did like daily yoga in the past, so I feel like I'm back into a groove again. So
that's awesome.
So that's good awesome. Things, yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
Well, last night I continued my weekly, apparently now it's weekly live stream of me picking a game to read, a tabletop RPG to read for the first time on stream and seeing what it's all about. And last night was Pathfinder 2nd edition. I finally took the opportunity to crack that book open and start reading it. And I have very specifically, intentionally not touched that book at all for the sole purpose of live streaming my reaction to its rules and stuff.
I love that dedication. Yeah.
It's not an if I read it. It was a when I read it. And yesterday was the when. And I felt like I had 30 teachers in the room around me in chat. As I was like, hey guys, what does this word mean? What do they mean by this word? And then chat would just fill up, just informing me of the knowledge of
I feel like
game.
That's a very efficient way of doing it. This is a big book, right? This is like a player's handbook, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 600 something pages. I wasn't ready for that.
Oh my God.
600. You don't need all 600 to like play.
I was going to say, like, when are you going to play the game if you have to read 600 pages?
It's very comprehensive.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
We got through chapter 1.
Is there like a bunch of lore and stuff too, or is it really rules?
I think so. I think there's lore like 400 pages in. You can just skip right to that and read.
Ooh, cool.
Anyway, we'll get to that. More importantly, on this weekend, I am going with my sister to Legoland. Do you know?
Oh, that's fun. Wait.
Caveat, of course, it's not for me. My cousin's kid is having a birthday there. They insist on going to Legoland
Aw.
and have invited the family out an hour and a half to go to Legoland. It is, in fact, a theme park, which is closed this time of year. And they're only going for the Legoland Hotel, which is a hotel themed around Legos.
They're not like actually going to the entertainment part? They're just going to go to the hotel part?
No, there's a
How
dinner
does that work?
where you have Lego themed food. I don't know what that means.
Okay, honestly, that sounds great. I would go to Legoland just for Lego themed food. That's great.
And then they're going to go to sleep in the Lego hotel, and we're invited. So I don't know what we're doing there.
That's the best children's party. Oh my God, that's great.
But I think what won me over was sheer curiosity. Like, how entertaining could this place be if the theme park is closed?
Yeah,
I'm guessing there's just Legos everywhere.
This is like Disneyland, the hotel in Disneyland, right? Where everything's just like Disney flavor.
Yes. Exactly like that.
So I hope your bed's not like square.
Oh, I'm not going to stay there. I'm
You're just gonna say hi and then leave again?
Meet with the fam, eat some Lego themed food. Over. Yeah, I think they're staying over. I think they're having a whole hotel experience. But me, I have my own bed at home.
Fair enough.
It's nice and comfy.
Yeah, so. I'll take it. Honestly, for a second, when you said I'm going to Legoland, I only know the one that's in Denmark.
Oh, okay.
I think there's just one in Denmark, and I didn't realize.
The authentic Legoland.
Yeah, I just thought no, but I thought you were just like casually going to Denmark for like. And then you said 1.5 hours, and I was like, okay, never mind. I'm the idiot on this side of the conversation. Yes,
that's me. This weekend, flying to Denmark.
As you do
for a family party.
Yeah, and then not staying over, like going back right away. Yeah.
Listen, fam, I know I
don't know how your children's parties
usual,
look.
But I'm not going to Denmark for Legoland.
Yeah, there's cooler things to see in Denmark, I think, than just the hotel, mind you, of Legoland, not even the actual Legoland. Amazing.
Anyway, stepping into this podcast, we got some things to do. We got some things to handle. Specifically, every episode, we handle one topic related to world building and storytelling and break it down to the best of our knowledge. And at the end, tackle a prompt entirely improvised by one of us. Today, I'm bringing the topic and I'm bringing the prompt, and you're handling the answering of the prompt. I think. Did we get that right?
Yes.
Did I get that right? Okay.
You got it perfectly right.
Stepping into the topic, and this will probably give away what the topic is. I need to ask you, what do you know about the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl. I
know this is a term, and I think it's something about sports.
Okay, cool.
And that's all I got.
Can you remind the podcast what country you're from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
Okay, cool. Because I don't expect you to know anything about the Super Bowl. This is an explicitly American thing.
I mean, I know this as a name or something. I feel like people have talked about this and I've never listened. I only know that the name exists and that it's a big thing.
Yes.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Cool. That's all you need.
The one brain cell, dedicated to Super Bowl. This is it.
The Super Bowl is this weekend. Not to say that I'm a football fan, because I'm not really.
Oh, it's football. Okay, so I already didn't know that.
Yeah, and not the worldwide football, not the football everybody else knows is football.
Yeah, the American rugby sort of football.
Yes, the American rugby. Yes, exactly that.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Not to be confused with the European football. This is the American rugby. Yes, football. Cool.
Tomato. Yeah.
That's this weekend. People are making a big deal out of it. People are starting their parties and stuff like that. And of course, that got me thinking about sports. Today, we're talking about sports.
About sports? Wow.
About sports. Our expertise, our area of expertise.
Favorite topic.
As players of tabletop role-playing games.
Yep.
And writers of small stories. Our expertise.
I love
sports.
It. Let's go.
Anyone even remotely involved in sports or following sports is going to be facepalming this entire episode because I'm going to preface, I'm not an expert.
I mean, we're nerds. What do you expect?
Hey, nerds can
I did yoga this morning. Is that enough? I'll take it,
Is that a sport? Is yoga a sport?
I don't know.
It probably is. There probably is competitive yoga.
Probably yoga people would be offended now. Or not. I don't know.
If you believe that yoga is a sport, contact us at Your Rivers Are Wrong and correct us.
We'll make it right in the next episode.
Fantastic. I've only recently come to understand sports. Most recently, I gotta preface this, right? I right now, currently, I follow the NBA. The NBA is what does it stand for? National Basketball Association? I don't know.
Sure,
anyway,
I wouldn't know anyway.
It's basketball. It's basketball. I'm following basketball.
Gotcha.
In the last couple of years, I've learned a lot about the teams, a lot about the players. I follow the games. I don't watch the games because, I don't have any sports channels. I'm not that big of a sports person, but I do watch the highlights online. And I try to follow the playoffs best I can.
What does that mean? You don't have? Oh, you can't like access it because you have to pay. Like,
yeah, it's like cable and something. Yeah, I get it. I don't really watch TV. Period. So.
Nah, fair.
So during the playoffs, I'll throw it on because my family loves basketball. Like my uncle loves basketball, my dad loves basketball, and my cousins do as well.
Yeah.
So I've come to learn the teams, and it's fun to watch, and I get it, and I totally get the game. Just I don't play basketball. I guess I got a 30-second
rewind,
step to the side.
Yeah.
My only experience in basketball was when I was a wee teen, right? Playing in the courts of someone's backyard. They passed me the ball. They passed me the rock, as they say. Pass the rock.
Is that what they say? That's so cool.
Yeah, the rock.
This is how uneducated I am.
Look at us nerds. It's called a rock.
Whoa.
Sometimes
whoa,
cool kids call it the rock. I got tossed a basketball, hit me in the face, and broke my glasses. And I never played basketball again.
Oh, no.
So that's my backstory on basketball.
You have even like a good like origin story for this. I just don't care enough. You have like
no, that's fine.
a whole like wounds and stuff and trauma.
So with big news in the NBA for people who follow, Kyrie going to the Mavs is ridiculous. But with big moves in the NBA, with the Super Bowl this weekend, sports is in the air here in the US of A. Is Holland big on sports? Do they have like a big sport?
Oh, we got some specifics that we're really good at. We're great at ice skating. We always win with ice skating.
Okay, that's
and
good. That's
what
good.
else? I mean, football's big, or like soccer. I don't know any version. Like the sort of European football is very big here, but I don't really care enough about it. I think there was like a World Championships like recently, and I forgot. And then there was like flags everywhere. I was like, "What's going on?"
Yes,
right,
yes,
it's football.
there was. There certainly was.
Yeah, so that's my engagement with
sport.
sport.
That was indeed big news.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'm blanking so hard on what else we're good at, but I mean, we have like specifics that we're great at because we're just like a cold ice country.
So the Winter Olympics is like your jam.
Yeah.
Which was literally like
mostly.
Last year.
Honestly, it's basically just skating. We're just good at skating.
Okay.
That's our jam.
Okay. You heard it here first.
Football's very big in terms of like everybody's watching it. I mean, my mom's really big on tennis, so I got a bunch of tennis. Well, I mean, I don't want to say genes, but like osmosis, like I'm sort of partially interested in tennis because my mom is super interested in it.
Got it.
But I think that's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a variety of things, I guess. Yeah. I feel like there's not one like giant, except for football. I think there's not one giant. I feel like basketball, for instance, is super big there, right? Super big in the US.
Yes.
Yeah. And we don't have that at all. And I don't think we have, except for football, we don't really have another sport that's like as big as basketball is in the US.
You guys have like the Euro League, which is basketball as well.
Oh, I did it.
And I feel like your country's just naturally tall, so you guys definitely have.
I think we're the tallest people in the world. Yeah, I keep forgetting, and then everyone around me is shorter, and I'm like, wait, oh yeah, right, that's the thing. We're the exception. Yeah.
As somebody who's been, if you guys are not involved in basketball, it is a supreme waste of genes.
I mean, it is kind of, I guess, because basketball's not really big here. I mean, not that I know of, at least, with my humble knowledge of sports. Yeah.
Anyway, let's. Did you grow up playing any sports? Like, we can talk about that real quick.
I did some dance. I did some tennis, and then what happened? I'm not sure.
What happened?
Well, I mean, I still dance, but it's always in the context of musical theater, right? So dancing was always just around, but I didn't specifically pursue it. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
Okay.
Nah, not hardcore enough about it.
I didn't play any like sports teams, but I loved volleyball growing up.
Volleyball's fun though.
We very specifically had a volleyball gym, which is the gym period, but only volleyball.
Oh, that's cool.
It was wonderful. It was so good. Anyway, we're talking about sports. We're talking about the back into nerddom.
Oh, I have one sports. That's a little bit in my life. Water sports, of course, like sailing and shit.
Oh yeah, cool.
Not like consistently, but we did like a yearly sailing thing when I was younger, so that was fun.
That's awesome, and I have no idea what that's like.
It's a bunch of people hiring a bunch of boats and then sitting in the boats all day. That's what it is.
Okay,
and it's great.
Cool. We should probably talk about like topics and stuff. But yes, I wanted to hop in here and say that sports series. Very specifically, because this is the Venn diagram of my nerddom, right? I don't really follow sports, but I do very much understand sports anime.
I got you on that. Yeah, I'll take it.
And I'm gonna mention my points of reference because people need to know which ones I've watched because they're very, very different and from most to least realistic.
Okay.
The first Haikyuu. Haikyuu is it's pretty darn well grounded.
I've watched a bunch of that. It's great.
Haikyuu has got to be one of my top 5 manga/anime. I've read the whole thing. Haven't watched the anime all the way, but the anime did great justice. First couple seasons.
It was so fun.
I grew up on iShield 21, iShield Nijuichi, which is a football anime, American football anime. And as ridiculous as it is, that's where I learned the rules of football. I watched 100 and something episodes of iShield 21, and I learned all the rules of football, like straight from that. And I knew all the positions, I knew all the tactics, I knew all the names and offside, and touchdowns
educated.
and safeties and all that. And least realistic, which I just very much fell off on, was Prince of Tennis. I watched Prince of Tennis, and it just got magical. Everybody had like superpowers, and
okay.
I was about it.
Sure.
But I've also watched like Megalobox. I've read Area no Kishi. There's a bunch of sports anime that I have dabbled into and gotten variable degrees of reading into it. And I wanted to talk about like what kind of stories are facilitated by sports. I think that's what I'm going for here. So
sure.
To jump into it, I want to first speak on genre because a lot of these fall into the same bucket of genre, which is slice of life, which is adolescence growing up. It's like high school stories. Mm-hmm. It's all like young development, mostly. Unless you're talking about an adult first stepping into it. That's a whole different story. But
yeah, fair. Yeah. But it usually is young adults. Yeah.
Most sports anime focus on a team of people, right? A colorful cast of characters, all with their own unique talents, abilities, flaws, and dispositions, so to speak. And them all learn to work together, usually centering around this super talented main character.
Oh, yeah, of course. You gotta have him.
To get as far as possible in whatever their division is named. And I think it's neat. I really love it. Have you watched any sports-themed TV shows, material, anime? I don't know.
Yes. I've watched, not all of it, unfortunately, but I've watched Haikyuu too. It was great.
Nice.
I feel like it was the first like real classic sports anime that I watched. And then before that, my brother kind of dragged me into Ping Pong, the animation. I don't know if you know it.
Ping Pong, the animation.
It's great. Yeah. Also because it just
so good.
Doesn't look like anime at all. It's not shiny. It's just like scraggly and
exactly.
crunchy. It's great. It's super fun. Because he's not into anime at all. But kind of this one is nice because he feels like it's not really anime, or it feels like it's a kind of a different take on it or something. Yeah. And then what else did I watch? I think I did watch an ice skater, but not like ice skating like in terms of like speed running and stuff. But what's that called? Like for beauty, like dancing on ice, kind of. Do you know how?
Skating
you know what I'm
for beauty? That's what it's called. That's what it's called. Skating
what's
for beauty.
The name? I mean,
that's
exactly
basically
what it is. But yeah,
I'm not going to correct you. I think it might have been Yuri on Ice. You know that one?
Oh, I think that's the one. A necessary side note, but I think I found this when I was like looking for coming of age gay anime, and then I was like, is this enough? And then they were like, this one has a lot of energy, and I was like, okay, sure. And then I watched it and it wasn't gay at all. It was like very vague glances and that was it. And then I was like, okay, but it was still enjoyable. It was a good anime, but yeah.
It's like pining, right? It's like
pining, yeah.
Subtle,
and I
subtle
kind
pining.
of got fed up with the pining, but the skating was great. And I think that's about the extent of it. And honestly, when you were saying that, I feel like it instantly reminded me again of why I also love the magical girl stuff, because it's the friendship thing, right? Everyone has different assets and like skills and stuff. This is very much the same thing with sports anime. It's the dynamic of like a group-based activity. And it's great.
Right.
It's great food for anime.
That's a great way to put it. The dynamic of a group-based activity. I think that pretty much sums it up. That's sports anime in a nutshell.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be group-based, right? Like, there's solo sports. I mean, I guess the ice skating was sort of solo, but then the characters, like, they're not in a team or something. Well, were they in a team?
There was like a supporting cast, though. I've never watched it. I just know clips.
Oh, okay.
So.
But, like, ice skating is still so solo, right? Like, you can have the same trainer and stuff, but it's a solo sport. But I feel like sports anime does best when it is not a solo sport, when it's actually, like, the group dynamic part of it.
Right. I'm very, very fond of the two main sports anime that I've gone through is Haikyuu and iShield 21.
What's the other one? Sorry, remind me again.
iShield 21 is the football anime. It's pretty old. I think at this point it's around 20 years old. I watched it through middle school on the original Crunchyroll.
Whoa.
Way before, like YouTube was not
I was there before
yet
it was
fully
cool.
a thing.
Yeah.
And it was just all free. Nothing was like commercial or anything like that. But
I've watched another one. I think it's called like Galaxy Football or something. It's basically
Galaxy
football with then
Football?
magic, but it was so weird. I tried to look it up lately, and I realized it's a French cartoon that also did like, was it called Galaxy Football? Intergalactic Galactic Football. That's what it was.
Galactic Football.
This was a thing that was just on TV, right? Like right next to all the other cartoons, and I didn't realize that it was basically anime after I did it. But it's from like a French studio or something. It was very likable, and I watched it back, and it was a bit confusing, but also very cool. Unconsciously, I think that's one of the first things I watched where they combined 2D and 3D animation in a very cool, like sort of natural way.
Yeah,
very cool.
I can see the aesthetic.
Yeah, I want to watch that back now. But that was basically the sort of tennis but magic. It was like football but magic. Or like sci-fi football was it kind of.
I think one of my favorite parts of the ones that I've watched, iShield 21 from way back when, and Haikyuu more recently, is like the assembling of the team, which is so fun. Like the first couple episodes
very
is mostly like meet the cast, right? You got a couple of delinquents that you're pulling out of nowhere, but they're very strong, but not very refined.
Yes.
There's that one weird dude who has that one very strong talent. iShield fans, there's going to be one of you, at least one of you. And if it's you, if you're listening right now and you're that one iShield 21 fan, please understand this.
I mean, this is a big one, right? That you're saying this is a big anime.
It's
I haven't
old.
heard of it, but it's like a classic.
At this point, it's old. It's old enough to be one, but it's not it wasn't one of the most popular ones, but it certainly was notable in its day. Monta, his only talent was catching. So he was on a baseball team and all he could do was catch, but he couldn't like run. He couldn't hit the ball with the bat, couldn't do anything. So they chucked him into football and all they did was teach him how to maximize his catching talents. There was like the quarterback was like the genius. He was like an evil, like sadistic dude who like taught the team in the weirdest and most vile of ways. But it was all for the love of the people,
for
like
the greater good.
For the greater goods. So they all hated him but respected him, and he was so great.
That's how you build trust.
And you had like failed stars. You had like guys who like needed to know how to be more forceful, like very gentle giants sort of thing. And it's just this ragtag group of kids, right? And they got to learn to play football.
That's the objective.
You put them all together and everybody looks at them and is like, hey, these guys are only good at one thing each. They don't actually know the rules of this game. And eventually they all like have they level up arcs, the way they train and go through adversity. And when they score for the first time and beat a big team or rival and everybody's like leveling up and you get to know the other teams. Now I'm just ranting. You get to know the other teams and they have stories and they have colorful casts and you see recurring characters and suddenly they have side arcs that you can enjoy where the main characters aren't even in the screen. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It can be so complex if you want it. Also, I think it's the perfect balance between identity as a group, right? Like we're one football team and sort of solo journeys within to sort of strengthen the group, right? Because the gentle giant needs to be more or less gentle. I don't know. I forgot which way it went. But like each one has a very specific direction or goal that they're trying to achieve. And because they all have kind of individual journeys and hopefully achieve all of their individual goals, they also indirectly sort of feed the whole group dynamic that's constantly going on.
Yes.
It's a back and forth thing. And the more focus you have on one solo journey, the less focus there is on the group dynamic. But then you'll still see it kind of work back into the group dynamic because the solo journey changed the person part of the team.
Exactly. Right. And it's this crossroads of like people from many different backgrounds putting themselves together and towards one specific goal, and the reconciliation of each character understanding, hey, this is for the better of the team. You make some sacrifices. You have to make some choices. And, high school sports, it's all the formative years. Like they're deciding where to go to college. They're trying to make money for their family. They're trying to pass all their classes. They obviously have like dynamics in like the classroom, like bullies or romance or things like that. And then trying to balance all that with like playing a very physical sport. They gotta figure out what takes priority. And it's a very, for people watching, especially to the audience, it's a very relatable thing. On that specific note, I actually wanted to bring up an anime that I watched only the 2/3 of the first season. It's called Run with the Wind. And
that sounds cool.
Is an anime about cross-country running. So they just
like
run.
Long distance running.
Yeah, long distance running.
The longest distance running, in fact.
It's not a race. It's just running, right?
Okay.
There is a point where like they have to run faster, but like, it's just endurance. The whole concept is endurance.
Is this like organized sports culture kind of? Okay.
So like people are running around a track, multiple laps. And there's like a tag team effort where you got to pass the baton and they got to move. So here everybody's asking first episode, how could you possibly have an anime about running? There's only one thing they do and they run. There's no ball. There's no points. What is this anime about? And I was so intrigued that I watched 7 episodes of it.
Oh, nice. They did something right.
And best believe by episode 3, I was invested. I was like, these are true to life people. They're all like stepping into, I think this is college cross country. They're stepping into like careers. Like they're thinking about their majors. They're being like, how much time do I really have to focus on a varsity team? Like, is running really my goal? And so some people are just trying to keep the lights on at home. And it's just like the actual student experience of either being a loner or being a party person or like being strictly focused on sports and understanding your background in that. And reconciling all of that for running. What I'm trying to get to is that in this specific anime, sports is not the focus. It is the catalyst. It's the foundation upon which everybody is brought into the same room to tackle the same thing. And it's an excuse for the characters to know each other, to like become friends and bond and understand each other's backstories and truly like invest in each other. Yeah, you have a shared
interest kind of.
Yeah. And running is just the thing on the whiteboard, right? And I know there's some sports anime that are very hyper focused into learning the sport and being good at the sport. But this was such an interesting departure because as much as they were teaching you about the culture of like running and like the sports aspect of it, it was the introspection of the characters that truly kept you watching. It's like, I want to see how this guy resolves this problem in his life. There was a whole episode about a guy who was going to quit the team because he had to go to job fairs and do interviews and like he was getting into like the business school. And he's like, this is a hobby. I need to be an adult. I need to grow up and be an adult. I can't be here. So I'm quitting. And basically they were all in this club because they all needed a place to dorm. Like this club basically paid for their boarding.
Oh,
so
okay.
If you were in this running club, you didn't have to pay for board. And that's the only reason he was there, but he had to quit because of school. And it's just like this whole thing where it's like, what do you value? What is important to you? What is important right now in the present, and how will that benefit you later on in life? And it's just like, when I watched this, I was like was I in my last few years of college? No, I think I was just barely out, like looking around for jobs. And I was just like, this is way too close to home for an anime about running. You gotta slow your roll. I wasn't ready for this.
Too authentic.
But yeah, I think as opposed to other episodes where the topic kind of shapes the story, this anime in particular just felt like framework. Like, here, this is a reason you're on the, like, it didn't have to be about running. This anime could have been about anything. It could have been about woodwork or carpentry or like learning how to do pottery. Like the topic didn't matter. It was getting everybody into the same room that these very different people could interact and share their worldviews. And it was like a melting pot of like different perspectives. And what sports anime does really well is that because these people are so different, the audience always has at least one person to latch onto that they find they can relate to the closest.
Yeah.
It's not usually the main character, to be honest, because the main character is usually supremely talented and doesn't yet realize it. And he kind of slowly grows into this role that they can carry the show, so to speak. But the side characters are often where they get to pluck little details that are like, hey, do you relate to this? Hey, are you a loner? Or are you somebody who doesn't know how to express themselves? Or are you
I think the side characters in general are just more characterized because they only have to have a few things to relate to, because literally they don't have enough time or, people to develop them fully.
Of course.
They can just focus on, oh, this one is a loner or this one loves, I don't know, food. But I think that also means that if you love food, then because this is the main trait of this character, right? It's instantly very, very likable instead of sort of generic likable that the main character usually is. There are more often also a blank slate, I think, or a bit less outspoken than specific side characters. And also on the point of the sports being the framework for the rest of it, I think that's super true. Depending on the anime, right? Or depending on the work, but it doesn't even matter what you're doing. But because it's such a good reason to literally get a band together, right? Have a group of people be around each other all the time, like have a bunch of characters interacting. It's become a whole genre. And it's great because it's a great genre.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I also like about this, you called it earlier slice of life, right? Which I think is very true. And I think it's great because I think it's so lovely and humble in the most exciting way. That sports anime is quote unquote just about sports. It's not magical. Well, usually it's not magical. It's not like changing the world forever. It's just some people that play volleyball, right? But then because we get so invested in it, because we love the characters, because we care about how the team is doing, this becomes as important as the world. This becomes the main focus of the anime. Let's stick to anime for now. That's really awesome. And that's also in general why I love slice of life, because you sort of heighten the usual life or sort of quote unquote mundane topics to something that we should care about. And that's also how life works. Guess what? Not everyone is a world changer. Most people don't. And that's okay.
Put that on the wall. Put that on the wall. Not everyone is a world changer, and that's okay. I love that.
Because honestly, there's a lot of pressure. We talk about fantasy all the time.
Right.
Most fantasy is pretty crazily epic, right?
Right.
There's a bunch of things dying, the world's ending, or not, it's just starting. I don't know, there's like one thing that changes everything. If you don't find it, you're doomed forever. Kill the dragon that kills a bunch of people. You know, that's heavy stuff. Sometimes I just want to watch a bunch of people playing volleyball and caring about it. And that's it. Because if you focus on the world at large as the problem or as the framework, as you said it, that also means that your bubble of people or your stakes instantly have to be, if I think about this in a storytelling sort of writer kind of way, right? Because if the bubble is as big as the literal world that you're on, all the stakes you're going to insert in that have to be really big, because otherwise it's not going to feel important enough. Because your framework is so large, you need to have large stakes, which means that fantasy or similar genres, sci-fi a lot of the times too, is ridiculously epic. And that's very cool. But very often it's much easier and equally interesting, as we've seen in sports anime and slice of life and stuff, to make your bubble, to make your framework very small, because then you can be detailed about stuff. You can be nitpicky and have equal stakes kind of in terms of how much we care for them. But then because the stakes are just in comparison to the sort of epic world-shattering stakes of my fantasy novel next door, those can feel equally important, but then you just talk about regular people instead of magic, fantasy, heroic gods.
Right.
Very often I find even more relatability in that because I don't have to dig through the epicness of it.
The dungeons and politics and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting too, because, you know, it's also escapism, right? Slice of life is less escapism than fantasy because it's not as different from
too far
usual life. In the example that you just said, the running anime where you were like, wait, this guy needs to suddenly have a job now? Well, that's so relatable. I don't like it. Because it's slice of life, suddenly when you sort of find something relatable there, it's super close to home because it is literally slice of life. It's very close to real life. And also why I think we should take it a little bit more seriously as a genre, but usually like casual things are not necessarily worse than epic things, right? It's just different.
Exactly.
And that's not always how people feel about it, I think. Yeah.
I have to say, I've processed a lot of manga and anime throughout my life. A good amount.
Processed.
I would what you would consider an enthusiast of manga and anime.
We established this. Yes, we're nerds.
For people who know Haikyuu, the moment when Tsukishima, who is the tall glasses blocker guy who didn't care about volleyball, the moment he got off a good block and just like broke down and was genuinely like happy about it.
Yeah.
Top 10 anime moments.
Best
Truly
moment.
Like,
am I right? Yeah.
I was overwhelmed reading that. The way it was drawn and the way it was presented, I was just watching. I'm just like, this is too much. This is too much. And there's not many anime that make me feel like that. Haikyuu is truly one of my favorites because it's so close to home. And I didn't expect the sports episode to be the one that's going on a bit long, but I do want to wrap this up.
Guess so.
There's something so novel and nostalgic about sports anime because it represents a chapter of people's lives that they will inevitably have to move on from. It is a coming of age story where people accept that this moment in their lives is very special, very unique, and fleeting. That in 10 years, people might not ever remember what you've done or what you've accomplished. But once you move on from it, it is up to you to decide how important it was for you, how impactful it was for you, that you chose to devote time and energy to this. And this is a very real feeling for people who go through high school and college. And it's not always sports, right? It could be a whole lot of things. It could be drama. It could be debate club. It could be a whole lot of different other orgs that you're involved in. And once you step away from it, you have to realize, was this worth my time and energy? Did I value it? What does it mean to me moving forward? And how did it change me? right? And that's something that sports anime and sports stories tackle very, very well.
Yeah, very well said.
Thank you.
Also bittersweet, but yes. I think it just changes shape, right? I'm still doing what I did in high school, but now I'm doing it like officially, like an adult, and it's like serious now.
Yeah, it is serious now.
And you're still doing what you're doing. You're still doing debate club, literally right now.
Debate club? I'm not doing debate club.
I mean,
I've never been in debate club. Yeah. Generally.
But it's true. Yeah, it's a sort of forming, shaping experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had tons of college experiences that I am happy I chose over like more academic, responsible routes.
Yeah, same.
and I've truly shaped who I've become. But maybe that's a topic for another episode, because today we have to tackle our prompt that we do at the end of the episode. I have a prompt. Marilla's going to have to answer it best she can. I'll chime in if she so requests, but this one is pretty much just yours. And if you want me to chime in and bring up some stuff, by all means,
we can back and forth a little bit.
You can. Okay. The prompt for today for you, again, she doesn't know what this is yet. She's just improvising it. I don't know if we say this often enough. Sometimes I listen back and I'm like, do they think this is scripted? One, why would we ever script this?
The eternal problem of good improv, right? Or bad improv, honestly, any improv.
Yeah. So here's your prompt. First month of school. Main character walks into an auditorium to try out for a team. And they're all going to realize what their very unique talent is.
You mean they, as in the people in school, are going to realize the talent of the main character?
Yes.
Is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So here you're deciding the sport, real or made up. And this main character's walking in first month of school and about to show everybody what they've got. Set the scene.
Ooh. Okay. Ooh, my mind is going in multiple directions here. Let me think. I don't know if this counts, but I think it's fun. So we're going to go for it.
There's no point system. Does this count? What do you mean?
I mean, does this count as a sport is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I think they would be offended if I say it's not a sport. Just like dancing is a sport. Okay. Here we go. Our main character is only, what did you say? Like this is the first month of school, right? Like the very, very beginning. This is the first time they're ever going to talk about like extracurriculars, sports, any sports teams, anything related.
Yep.
They are how old are you when it's like first, it's like 12, 13? What's the first week of high school? That's kind of 12, right?
For us, it's 14. I don't know about
14,
you guys.
sure. I mean, for us, I think it's 12, but it's fine. Young girl. She's super excited, but also very jittery. Like she's so excited to make friends that she's really nervous about it. But, she's heard about the sort of extracurricular market. Is that how you say it? Probably not, because you're laughing.
It's just a very professional way of saying.
Oh, sure.
Like,
okay.
Like choices.
She's going to the auditorium. She's heard about this. She knows that this is the place to be. Let's give her a name. Let's give her Maya. She's called Maya. Maya knows there's a great chance of making the most friends if you join an extracurricular activity, such as sports or, a hobby club. So she's so ready. She's so ready to tackle this opportunity to stay in the sports vernacular here. And the one thing she's scared about is that she's going to make a fool of herself. She has had experiences in the past because she's just a little bit clumsy. She's so excited. She's so ready. She's so lovely and warm as a person, but she's just really clumsy. She sort of bumps her head all the time. She falls off stairs. It's very unpractical. Yeah. She's become very good at like falling at this point. It's not the most ideal thing to have as a trait for a sports team, perhaps.
Or as a person.
Okay, so she's gonna see all this beautiful stalls and people are being super excited, right? Everyone's shouting at her, whatever their team is. I've seen this in American movies. This is how it goes, right?
Yo, yeah, all the time.
She's seeing like, come join the I don't know, sport. Come join the ping pong team. We're great, but you got to be really dexterous about it. And she's like, well, that's cool. Not for me. Let's continue. There's another corner over there that says, come join the cycling group. You have to be like super like fast in the bends, but if you can do it,
fast in the bends.
This bike is yours. And she's like, oh, I love it. These people are awesome, but I will probably like die from it. So maybe not for me. She's going around the auditorium and every time she's like, I'm not sure if this is for me. It's getting a bit tricky, right? There's not a lot of them left. Right before she actually feels so insecure that she might just try it another day. She'll just have to think about it a little bit harder. there's actually a performance of the cheerleading team.
Oh.
Who is presenting their team, their skill. Join the club, come audition for us, and be part of this wonderful girl squad that we have here. And they're performing. At first, she's like, oh, they look so cool. They look so confident. They're so good at it. Look how nice it looks. Look how trained they are. And then at first, she's like, okay, this is my favorite one of the entire place, right? Because they're just so cool about it. But she's not really sure if it's for her. And then right before she's like, I think I'll just pass on the cheerleading, she sees that they're doing a large stunt where one of them falls from a very far height and perfectly falls into a group of people. And she's like, wait, this is actually perfect. I can fall. I'm good at falling. I belong here. And then, before she knows it, she's already strutted up to the captain of the cheerleading squad and says, you have to get me. There's not much things I'm good at, but I'm so good at falling. And I've already pointed out a bunch of things that you can do better at your falling. Please take me. And they're so excited about it that she's instantly part of the team.
Oh, I love it.
Maybe she even accidentally falls up the stairs as she's saying it, and then is really good at it. And then they're like, "Wow, damn, you actually really are good at falling."
Oh,
and now she's part of the team because she's great at falling.
Love that.
And
I love that. Yeah,
there we go. Wasn't that wholesome?
I wasn't sold at first. So I'm like, wait a sec, how could somebody who's good at falling be good at cheerleading? But I started thinking, I'm like, wait, if you're not afraid of falling, then you're probably amazing.
She's done it a billion times in her life. From 1 meter, from 2 buildings, and somehow she's still here. She's become very good at it by now.
Has she considered pool diving?
No.
Diving.
There's no pool team. There's no pool team in this high
no
school.
Pools here? I'm so sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're good.
I mean, honestly, yeah. If you can't fall and then you're on a pool team, it's the worst because then it hurts so bad if you enter the water wrong. There's no pool team.
That'd be
because I made it up. I can make it up. I can do what I want.
That's true. That's right. That's exactly what we did. It's all made up. With
Ta-da!
Ta-da! That was wonderful. Thank you for that. The visual was bright in my head. I could see
Amazing.
The whole thing.
Yes. I wasn't sure where I was landing, but I figured it out in the end.
It definitely landed.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, with that, thanks again for tuning into this podcast, apparently about sports. Tune in next episode where we don't talk about we're not talking about sports next episode. So if you've stumbled into here from ESPN podcast or JJ Redick or any of those interesting ones, I think Pat Bev has a podcast now. But if you've tuned in from any of those and you're expecting more episodes about sports, it's not here because this
not happening.
This podcast is about world building and storytelling, and that's what we're focusing on. That's what we're sticking to.
Exactly.
So thank you for listening. Again, if you want to reach out to us, we are at yourriversarewrong@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter, apparently. So kind of maybe. YRAW podcast. That's us. And I don't know if we have any others. And you can find us on Anchor, Spotify, any streaming platform. And as we send you guys out into the greater world to tap into these pools of limitless imagination, there's one thing that you should probably remember, and that is...
Your rivers are wrong.
Your rivers are wrong.
Got it. Okay.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Goodbye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Your Rivers Are Wrong. If you have ideas for topics, prompts, or you just want to share your thoughts, please reach us at yourriversarewrong@gmail.com. That's yourriversarewrong@gmail.com. Also, a big thanks to Maarten Schellekens, who created the intro and outro music for our podcast. And most importantly, thank you for listening. We hope to see you at the next one. Bye.